repair and enhancement of almost any part of a human body. Millions of people jack into virtual worlds every day to work, play, and connect with one another with advanced brain-to-machine technology.
Happy Day of the Dead.
Easier access to genetic modification leaves hybrids walking the streets, looking less human every day.
Oh, yeah.
However, some can't keep
poor
up
relative.
with the fast-paced changes around them.
They won't be able to cross over.
They won't be.
What a shame we're streaming, can't change that now. So
No.
They say that ROMs, now
we
commonplace
should have done
thanks
this
to
last
Parallax,
week, but
are
alas,
leading
life has hit
humans
us
to a place
again.
where
Yeah.
we can never come back, losing the survival skills
All
that
the
we
regulars.
rely
But,
on
you know,
for
I
living.
did the research. I did the news poll. I'm sure
Relationship organizational
news
managers
will be
are
relevant
compiled
this
with
week.
virtual
Cool.
intelligence and
let's
conceive
just get into it.
human-like in
What
their
could go wrong?
interactions.
Talk to me.
But despite the
Number
marketing
one,
hype,
PS Plus
at their
members are
core,
getting emails
they are
for
only
free
brainless
3-month
machines.
Netflix subscriptions. So if you wanted some free Netflix, jump on in, you get free 3 months.
Organizations
You have
like
until
the Human
the
Revolution
offer expired.
seek to slow the
Sorry,
relentless
guys,
pace
we're a little
of
bit
progress,
behind.
fearing that
Okay,
unchecked
there's only more news item.
technology
I got plenty more
will
too.
make us lose
Also,
the very
this
things
month,
that
the month
make
of
us human.
October, we'll get the formal reveal for the November PS Plus titles. A little late, but it is
I
releasing on
love the
Halloween. And the
rising
good news
tension
of time
below.
travel, it is
Our
now November
Parallax
1st.
engineer
So,
has
you know, we
blurred the
do
line.
have these
We
titles.
still have those things.
We do. I do want to say, though,
And
the news
with
item I
this,
had wanted to talk about
humanity's
was that an
destiny
advert on PlayStation.com from October
forever.
4th may have spoiled what was coming in November. It was possible we were going to see Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition and Yakuza Kiwami, which were both remake titles, as the PS4 PS Plus releases for November.
Okay.
Since we can time travel to November 1st, let me
Yes,
tell you what the
yes.
PS Plus titles for November 4th are.
Sure.
Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition and Yakuza Kiwami, both remakes for the PlayStation 4.
Wow, how about that? They spoiled it.
They spoiled it. Amazing. Additionally, of course, there are always still PS3 titles available. If you're still rocking that old school, you can play Jackbox Party Pack number 2. Arguably the worst of the Jackbox Party Packs, but hey, you know, it's Mario Party mini games. You can also get Arkido series, which is a collection of 3 retro-style games. And for PS Vita owners, all 2 of you, there are the 70s B-movie game Roundabout and the branching adventure game Burly Manheads. I believe I have that novel. It's a game.
I understood. I laughed.
Okay. And now for something completely different. I'm Tony, aka Paradox, always joined by my co-host.
Hello, I'm Lauren, also known as Caustic Sofa, and we're the cyberpunk adventuring gamers. And tonight we're trying to get 1 trophy in 2064 read-only memories. Welcome to our live Twitch viewers and everyone else watching
Neo San
on
Francisco,
YouTube to 2 gamers,
2064
1
AD.
trophy.
The world thrives on a constant flow of groundbreaking technology. Cybernetic augmentation and genetic modification allow the repair and enhancement of almost any part of a human body. Millions of people jack into virtual worlds every day to work, play, and connect with one another with advanced brain-to-machine technology. Easier access to genetic modification leaves
Still looking
hybrids
for that
walking the
intern
streets,
to push a button
looking
for me,
less
because
human
being able to
every
read
day.
and push a button at the correct timing,
However,
it's not something I'm ever
some
going to get right.
can't keep up
That's
with
okay.
the fast-paced
Alright, we can
changes
fix
around
it in
them.
editing. Fixed editing.
Yeah. I'll get the editing team to handle that.
They say that
2064
ROMs, now
read-only
commonplace
memories
thanks
is
to
one of the
Parallax,
PS Vita offerings
are
from
leading humans
October's
to a place
2018 PS
where
Plus
we can
free
never
download
come back,
with cross-play
using
with
the
PS4,
survival
which is why we're
skills
playing
that
it.
we have
It's still
relied on
unclear
for
what is going to happen to PS Plus once March 2019 comes
Relationship
out, and we lose
organizational
the regular
managers
PS3 and
are
PS
compiled
Vita
with
titles.
virtual
We
intelligence
start getting regular
and
PSVR
conceive
titles,
human-like in their
we get
interactions.
more PS4 titles.
But despite the
or will we
marketing
just lose out on
hype, at their core,
offered
they
by
are
crossplay?
only brainless
We'll see.
machines.
Today, yeah, that's actually a good question. I want to talk about that more. But
Organizations
today will be the first time
like
I'm
the
actually
Human
hands-on with this
seek to
game.
slow the relentless
I give you my
pace of
first
progress,
live impression
fearing
of
that
2064
unchecked
read-only
technology
memories.
will make
What
us
can you
lose
expect
the
from the
very
gameplay?
things
Will
that
this
make us
title be
human.
worth downloading? Stay tuned to find out. Meanwhile, Tony will be here with all the factoids
High
and trivia,
above
as
the
well as
rising
being a
tension
resource to help me
below,
reach this
a
episode's
Parallax
trophy
engineer
challenge.
has blurred the line
We here
even
at 2
further.
Gamers 1 Trophy don't just review all the free PS
And
Plus
with
titles
this,
each month. we like to add a
Humanity's
trophy
destiny
challenge to our
will
gameplay.
be altered.
Tonight we'll be doing a challenge that we like to call a targeted trophy, which means I'm challenging Lauren to get one specific trophy. In this instance, it's called Blackout, which you get for achieving the completion of Chapter 1. This bronze trophy, with a Trophy Hunter collection rate of 27.85% according to PSNprofiles.com, is considered an uncommon trophy. Once we get the trophy, we have to be careful not to get an additional trophy before closing down the episode.
We invite all of our live viewers to join in the Twitch chat. Let us know if you're playing along or tell us your impressions of the game. And for those of you joining us later on YouTube, give us some internet cred. Like, subscribe, and comment, please. No more delay. We start gameplay now.
Enough of that scripted nonsense. Let's play.
Let us play. I'm trying to do our usual and turn it up. Sound effects and music.
Because of that, I will do a brief mention of the music. I really enjoyed the music throughout this. The title music in particular really got me sort of amped up to play this. And the majority of the game is voice acted, so we'll lose out on some of that. I will reference who some of the voice actors are, but there is that whole aspect to it, and I do recommend playing with sound. This is not a game you'd want to just listen to a podcast and play. It's worth listening to.
Sure.
San Francisco, 2064.
So we've watched
So as we
this
see-
part a few
The
times.
world thrives
Yeah.
on a constant
Yeah.
flow of groundbreaking
Okay,
technology.
anyway.
So you're just getting the intro again.
Yeah.
Basically, you're in a cyberpunk world. You know, it's the near distant future. It's not too hard to pick up on what's happening here, but this is a point-and-click game. So basically, you're going to be finding items, meshing those items with other things, trying to unlock simple puzzles and dialogue trees to get further into the story. Which means that this can go as fast or as slow as your exploratory nature dictates.
Okay.
Are you familiar with sort of action-adventure games? Is this a genre that you're a big fan of, or...?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with point-and-click type games, but I like action-adventure games.
Yeah, I mean, we've delved into Telltale games before, which I think is the modern equivalent of this. And obviously this is a much more of a retro feel, much more of kind of a LucasArts type action-adventure game, which is certainly a genre of gaming that I think was a little bit more computer enthusiast-oriented.
Okay.
But it's nice to get sort of a modern retelling of that genre of game. So we'll see how you do with that. As you explore your apartment, I do want to give you a tiny bit about the development team. It was developed by Midboss. And that's interesting because Midboss, they governed for 3 years GaymerX, spelled G-A-Y-M-E-R-X, Gamer, which was an LGBTQ-oriented gaming and geek culture convention. They also did the documentary Gaming in Color, which focused on minorities and LGBT community in gaming. It's also published by Midboss. Released on January 17th, 2017 worldwide on PS4, and then later released in Microsoft Windows, OS X, Linux, Oye, Razer Forge, Fire TV, PS Vita, Xbox One, Android, iOS, and Nintendo Switch. This game has been everywhere, which makes sense. It's not too difficult to port something that's kind of simplistic graphics-wise and mechanics-wise. And finally, it's rated E10 plus by the ESRB. So I will say to you that you do have the option of not just scrolling through the items, I believe with the left analog stick or the left joystick. You can also change in the menu to a virtual cursor, where essentially you're controlling a mouse and will hover over all the items. I found that to be easier to play, but it's whatever your preference is.
I mean, I'm finding the D-pad perfectly acceptable.
Good, cool. So, Midboss ran this convention. They decided to get into the actual video game publishing world. This is their first title. And mostly this game was critically, I don't want to say universally accepted. There's some detractors, But it was certainly a game that got notoriety. But some of the interesting things about this is that Matt Kahn, who was the head of Midboss, actually stepped down from the company in March of 2018, and as the organizer of the conventions, following allegations of sexual harassment and misbehavior. Reports are that he was emotionally manipulative, that he contributed to toxic work behavior, including paying junior staff members below minimum wage. And it's not just an allegation. In a series of tweets, he stepped down and apologized for behavior that is, I think most people would agree is pretty awful. He accepted lowballed requests for payments from subordinates. His intense management style and unconventional lifestyle put people off, quote unquote. So obviously he felt that he had some growing up to do as far as running a gaming studio. I bring all this up because Midboss, I believe their focus was creating a game that had a retro sensibility, a gaming that you would have grown up on in theory, if you're in a demographic between maybe 25 to 35, that had themes, progressive themes, and had themes that really put LGBTQ characters not just in the spotlight, but also put them in a way that wasn't intrusive. They just were part of the world, and it was just sort of, here they are. And I think there was a lot of focus on that. They felt that there wasn't a lot of that representation in the community, especially in major titles, and they just decided to make a game to put it in there. But it's unfortunate that, not only did they have to deal with detractors who felt like that messaging was politically motivated, and some conservative gamers didn't like that, but also that Matt Kahn ended up becoming this face of the company and kind of put a bad light on everything, considering that he ended up not being a very cool dude.
Sorry if I'm not saying much while you're talking. I'm trying to read and listen and read. So
now this happens. This game. There's some titles that are just, you jump in, there's action, you're fighting, you're mashing the X button, and we can have a bigger conversation. And we'll get into it, I know. Right now, of course, you're just exploring your apartment, you're exploring all of your mail. A lot of this is backstory presented as huge chunks of text. When I played through this, I found myself doing what you're doing, just reading. Which is great, you should. You're certainly welcome to read some of this out loud or comments on some of the stories. I've given you sort of the chunk of, info there. But we're really just world building at this point.
Yeah.
Human Revolution, which we've seen mentioned a couple of times, reminds me of the Deus Ex series. I believe there's actually one of the titles was called Human Revolution, if I'm not mistaken. And genetics and augmentation, a big part of that genre. I wouldn't necessarily call it cyberpunk. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe just simply cyberpunk, and I'm just making a distinction that isn't there. But I certainly felt that influence here, and it's interesting because I feel like they can delve deeper into the story here without necessarily having to focus on that kind of gaming mechanic part of it. You're entrenched in the story, I think, because this game story was the main focus. It was nominated for the Best Writing Award in the 2018 Webbies, so there is real substance here.
Okay. Sleep. Go to sleep.
Initial impressions of the world?
I mean, I haven't really gotten much other than that there's I have a room That's all there is.
Yeah.
Ah, good. You're finally awake.
What? Who are you?
I'm honestly not sure why most humans still have such lengthy sleeps. Are you significantly opposed to cyber...
So I'm not sure if we have any audio right now, but this is all voice acted.
Oh, I hope... While you were asleep,
Yeah, I don't
had some
know.
spare time
As
on
per
my
usual, I
hands,
have my
so
volume
I
turned down all the way on my
reorganized the records
TV,
and
so I have
entertained
no
you at
idea.
BISAC.
Okay. So for those that can't hear, the character that we're listening to is voiced by Melissa Hutchinson. We would have previously encountered her, and she's most famous for her role as Clementine in The Telltale's Walking Dead.
Oh, I've never played that.
A lot of people did. It was Telltale's sort of title that brought them into prominence, and seems to also be their downfall, since The Walking Dead is likely to be the last game.
It only took
Right.
me 17 trillion clock cycles. It looks rather imposing, but it's actually a knockoff of this. Don't feel too bad. I actually cheated a bit when I cross-referenced likely numeric combinations. I'm not
I like
certain
this little
why you
robot.
picked the birthday of your first dog, but it would be sufficient.
Yeah, he's really cute.
I felt a little silly that I took the time to do all that one, and that you Yes, I attempted to repair it, but it uses a... I took the liberty of filing a maintenance request.
What is that movie
Considering the
with
speed
the
at which
AI
device was
played
stored
by
online, I estimate...
that kid who saw dead people in the Bruce Willis movie?
Isn't it just called AI?
Is it called AI? Did I literally say the title of the movie?
Yeah, I think it's just called AI.
And Jude Law was in it. He was like the
Yeah.
kind of sex robot. Okay, so AI. I get that vibe here. I get the whole like cute, little more sentient than normal robot thing motif going here. I can't speak to the motivations and the influences of the writers. I do know that they had influence from 80s and 90s adventure games, which we talked about from the LucasArts style game. Don't know if they were influenced by that genre of film, but it's certainly in the popular space, so
until you can procure a it is the least I wasn't trying to engage you in any sort of subterfuge. I have all the necessary protocols, but I've never actually... Well, saying I know... I don't really know. That's why I'm here.
Unexpected vibration.
You aren't quite my only hope, but you're...
The controller does, the game does have that built-in vibration feature. Specifically when a character is acting either really emotional or something physical happens to the character, I found it a bit intrusive. Normally, I am so into utilizing those extra little features in the PlayStation controller. That light bar, love it. The rumbling, I love it. The touchpad. I like feeling like my PlayStation is being used to its fullest extent. I think it's great.
Right.
Here, it doesn't make much sense. I don't understand why that's the reaction is a physical shaking of the controller. I feel like there's some sort of kind of anime vibe that's supposed to be happening there, but I didn't like it. And your reaction kind of indicates that it was a bit out of nowhere for you too.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would have been fine if it wasn't quite so violent of a vibration. Like, can't they, like, calibrate this thing to do just, like, small vibrations? Like, isn't that, like...
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So why would I need just, like, the strongest vibration possible on this thing? Yeah, I don't know.
If anything...
Yeah, because my initial thing was like, is this supposed to be like an anime style, you know, guy falling out of his bed all wacky and like lines? You know, that was my... Okay, if that's the style we're going for, but...
Admittedly, Hayden has become increasing... It's not as though... There are several multinational corporations that... He is one of the top researchers at I suspect... excuse... I forgot to introduce myself.
So we're learning here that you have a relationship
I know this must
not romantic necessarily, but just a acquaintance, Hayden, works for a technology company. Parallax does research on AI, ROMs as they call them here. That this robot is in trouble. The robot's name is Turing. He's more advanced than normal ROMs, and he has deduced that you're the one to help him.
A regular ROM has. They can appear rather smart.
But why me? I can't do
They're
anything.
just cleverly programmed to respond.
I can just
I'm
click on
literally
things.
nothing.
They aren't in any way self. As for myself, much of my code wasn't actually written by Hayden. But despite my ability to, I am afraid to adapt or develop. Did he only program me with the illusion of free? How would you? Hayden once told me that his desire to create. How can any of us tell that we aren't just? You're right.
So we're in the prologue, and we are being not only plot dumped, we're also getting very philosophical, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
We're getting into some heavy stuff here, which, fine. I enjoyed it. I definitely, my playthrough, I was interested in where we were going with this, but I could see this being a bit heavy-handed for a casual gamer. You called him a bobblehead.
When did this game originally come out? Sorry.
2017.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, obviously, retro gaming is very popular. The idea of using 8-bit, 16-bit to reproduce a genre of game that was popular when we were younger, as an audience, is very popular. It's easy. Programming is considerably easier than doing a full AAA, using Unity and doing the entire full graphics, everything's photorealistic. Obviously, that's incredibly more difficult. It's a huge investment, and you have to get backing, and you have to get a marketing team, which means you have to only do that for titles that are already well known, established, and you have a guarantee of success. With indie titles, the fallback is to do something like this, is do something that's a little bit more relying on nostalgia, but is simplistic. But the nice thing about this is that we do see a lot of passion projects produced, and I think PlayStation Plus's the desire is not only supplement their PS Plus program with those bigger titles, but also to give you some indie darlings that you wouldn't normally just stumble upon on your own. But it's something that they're kind of curating for you.
Right.
Now, does PS Plus, does Sony always do that? Sometimes they just give you like, here, we found this in the bottom of the barrel. It's a game, technically. Enjoy. That has happened. And you and I can go back to previous episodes where we have shit talked on some. And we try and respect developers here. We try and respect the art of gaming. We love video games. We love being able to relax with this. But you can tell when some things are not passion projects and which ones are.
Excellent point. Let's start.
And I think no matter where we fall on this title, whether we end up saying this is worth downloading, whether we like the experience, I think that almost immediately you can agree that this was done by somebody who cares. That obviously the time is being taken to really do something, to create a character that you can relate to an experience that is interesting and engaging. Whether it succeeds or not, there is clearly the attempt. So we're in Hayden's apartment. We're investigating for clues. Lauren is doing what the game is telling her to, which is exploring every little nook and cranny. That's what these adventure games are. They're interacting with everything. They're touching everything. They're taking the objects that we've collected and trying to use that item against something else. And a lot of the times with adventure games, there's that anticipation of that, and there's a lot of funny lines like, "Why would you do that? You can't use this with that." And it's interesting because, in a way, it's a lot of fluff. A lot of adventure games are fluff. It's, trial and error, and eventually you find the right combination. But sometimes, if you're a gamer really looking to experience the entirety of a point-and-click adventure game, you purposefully do things that wouldn't work. Like, you purposefully try to put that hairbrush with that picture because, those two things don't relate, and I want to see what they're going to say about that. I know when I did my playthrough, I found myself lingering in rooms forever. A lot of the trophies associated with this game, which is one of the main things we do here at the channel, is anticipating this sort of playing around. In your apartment, in that first scene, we actually missed several trophy opportunities, which is part of the reason why I didn't do the challenge one and done, which for those who are not familiar with the channel, a one and done is when we get any trophy and then we're done with the gameplay, because there's plenty of opportunity to get trophies almost instantaneously in this game. In your apartment, there was spoiled milk in the fridge. You could have taken that out and made it as part of your inventory, and the game would have rewarded you because there are tons of humorous dialogue options of you trying to interact the spoiled milk with everybody and everything. And it's amusing that there's this incidental item that has, as far as I can tell, no impact on the story whatsoever, but they decided to write an entire game's worth of commentary and dialogue around this spoiled milk product.
Unfortunately, no, I don't.
You also learned that you were a journalist.
I don't think I would be able to
You could have
broadcast.
tested the headphones on various objects in your apartment,
Your door
and you could have written a review
algorithm
that would appear later in the game.
processor.
So, you know, there is
I
certainly
did write a
not...
review.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, didn't see that. Perfect, perfect. So good.
I actually have a bit
The game is
of those extra
trying to give you
bucks,
things to do, options to live your life and feel like you're actually participating in the world. Sorry I didn't see that. I get a bit of a delay, and it's also hard to keep up because, you know, I'm not playing at the same pace you are.
Right. I'm also not really reading the dialogue just because I'm trying to listen to you and play the game. So I'm kind of trying to speed through it because I can't do both of those things. So I apologize if you're watching and you're trying to like follow the gameplay. I'm just sort of like it's hard for me to do both at the same time. And if you're watching, it's probably hard for you to also do both, listen to us and read. So I apologize for that. I'm not, which consequently means that I'm probably not getting as much of the story as I should be. But I'm sure you'll fill me in if I miss something.
There are plenty of channels out there that will give you Let's Plays of the game. Plenty of channels that will give you trophy guides for the game. That's not us. We're trying to get a sense of the game to see whether it's something that's going to be worth our time as far as a full playthrough when we have limited time in our lives to play games and is a PS Plus title that's being given to us for free, quote unquote, we do pay for the service, is worth the time. So yeah, even though you're skipping some of the nuances here, I think I'll just blanket say that they did a good job with each character as far as making them believable. Sometimes they're a bit one note, as you'll see some future characters, and you kind of feel like, okay, I get what you're doing with this character. But I didn't find anyone annoying. I found Turing to be a bit too talkative, but Turing is obviously the one we're supposed to create the strongest emotional connection to.
Okay.
I've noticed that a lot of your answers have kind of all over the place as far as if you're being nice or you're being mean to him. And there is a trophy, and there are multiple endings depending on whether Turing likes you at the end of the game or not. And that's true for a lot of the characters. There are trophies associated with, you know, the character's affinity towards you. So every decision does seem to matter in some small way, which I also like. I like that there's that care continuing your consequences in the world. A lot of the times we don't get that in games, and it's really, you know, there's one route, there's one ending, you know, you can fill in the in-betweens with your sarcasm and responses, but ultimately it doesn't matter. And I at least get the impression that the game is tracking that, and that's something that I appreciate in gaming. I feel like we've talked about this before, and you have a similar appreciation of a world responding to you and being living in that respect.
I'm sorry, I haven't really been
No, you're
listening
good.
to you, and I apologize.
No, you're totally good. But yeah, I think that that's important for the games to be truly interactive, and that's, I think, what we're experiencing here. It doesn't at all bother me that we're having a hard time even communicating, because there's so much to look at. At each individual scene, it feels like there's a ton of things to interact with. There's a ton of things to expand your knowledge of the world. But there's also that conflicting feeling of, okay, but I haven't left this room in 10 minutes. Not only, you know, is that starting to become boring as far as you, the gamer, But because you're streaming, is that boring just having a static screen? And I wouldn't worry about that if that's a consideration. I think this is the way the game is designed. It's a slow burn of a game. There are not a lot of set pieces. It's really designed to just fully flesh out the world in each room. In fact, there are moments where you return to places, and because you spend so much time in a location, you'll notice when something is off. You'll notice that something has changed, or something has moved. And so I think there is that understanding that you're not necessarily going to move fast to this. But because I mentioned speed, I do want to talk about the trophies, as long as you don't feel that I've been blabbing too long.
No, go for it.
Okay, so psnprofiles.com is a website that I use in order to grab not only trophy information, but also to grab some data on trophy hunters and how they're getting trophies, what percentage people are giving them. They say this game has 1 platinum trophy. At 2.91%, it's an ultra rare trophy. It's not common for trophy hunters to get it. There's a gold, a silver, and 62 bronze trophy. I say that with such, because that means there's 65 trophies, 1,230 points, and an overwhelming majority of them are bronze. We've talked about skewed trophy lists before. We've talked about trophy lists that have 1 or 2 bronze and like 9 golds. And it bothers me that there's not a more standard sort of guideline to how you create trophies in a game. 62 bronze with only 1 silver and 1 gold seems wrong. The platinum to me seems to be sort of that one trophy that kind of rewards you for doing everything, and to add on a 1 gold and a 1 silver feels like they're not really getting sort of what should be a more equal curve. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
That being said, there is a trophy for completing this game very quickly. And that brings us to the trophy yays or nays. I like to talk a little bit of shit. I like to give a little bit of cheer. Here we go. The trophy yay for this game is called Iron ROM. That's the name of the trophy. And you get it for playing through the game in a single session and never using a load or continue. To give you an idea, speed running through this game, just a little bit what you're doing here. I wouldn't say you're speed running through it, but you're moving at a pretty healthy pace. You wouldn't hit this, but if you were speed running it, you would be able to complete this game in about 4 to 5 hours. And this trophy will reward those players for experiencing the entire story experience in a single playthrough. Now, those regular viewers of the channel may be confused because this is normally something that I would poo-poo on, but I think these types of restrictive challenges, if done well, can be very rewarding. It adds an extra layer to gameplay. And I don't think that 4 to 5 hours of a time commitment is that huge of an ask. I think it's doable. I think, you have a day and you say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for that trophy. And it's not something you would do in your first playthrough. I mean, obviously the intention would be to do it a second time. So I'm okay with that. The only kind of thing is the game is not bug-free. I played this game 3 times, 3 different playthroughs. 2 times the game bugged out on me, crashed. So that would, of course, undo that trophy. So, I don't know. I want to still give it the yay despite that technical glitch. The trophy nay is not what I'm going to tell you yet, because you're about to get it. So I'll wait till you get it.
I'm about to get it?
You're about to get it. You're so close. It's
Okay.
lingering right there in the corner.
Well, I really have no idea what I'm meant to even be doing right now, so...
Okay, so as much as you've not been paying attention to me, I have not been paying attention to you. This is what makes us really good gamers. So give me a heads up on where you're at, what you think your goal is.
The memory.
Well, obviously I was supposed to be finding a way to make one of these pieces of technology work. I just got it in. Put the thing in the... Yeah, I got the trophy.
Go.
Hayden must have removed
I was
the
like,
memory
there's
from
gotta
the
be something in this room that I'm missing. Like...
Congratulations on getting the trophy. Put the thing in the doohickey. You got this trophy for puzzling your first puzzle. And this is also my trophy nay. Here's why.
Says here they were going to
I am normally all about rewarding players for small actions, especially in the beginning of your playthrough.
Right.
Reward somebody for collecting the first collectible, for doing the first super move. These are great ways to show that the gamer is on the right path, they're playing the way that the game is expected to, and keep doing this and you'll keep getting rewards. Not as fast, but this is the correct path.
For example,
And I really feel that this trophy is an oddball. It's not like this game has a ton of puzzles. I mean, there are like put this thing in that thing things, but it's not a main part of this game. And it's certainly not a collectible. It's not a side path that rewards you. It's just an element of the story. Like, all you've done is progress the story,
Right.
and there were already trophies associated with the story. You're about to get another one. I don't understand the point of this trophy, and I really feel like some developer was just, oh, we gotta put a trophy somewhere, and here it is.
if you have any questions, feel free
It feels
Yeah.
patronizing, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like, oh, you finally figured out where this thing in this room is.
directly.
Because, like, it looked like it was just part of these other parts, and now they're just like, oh, you found it. Nah, took you forever.
First, could you tell
Yeah.
me your preferred
So that's my little trophy rant and trophy celebration. So that part of the show is over. But trophies are something that I'm passionate about. Not every gamer is. Some gamers
Right.
don't. They don't even they turn off the notifications. They don't give a care, and that's fine. That's not. It's an extra thing that's added onto games. For those of us who really like that sense of OCD accomplishment, it's important to them. It's important to have a trophy list that makes sense, that is complementary to the game and the game experience, and also doable, that they're not glitched or a horrific ask.
Thank you. I have input. Finally, could you tell me your
So
preferred
this is part of the game that I definitely want your opinion on. This is obviously part of the development team's desire to have a game that's more progressive and inclusive. So not only you're entering your name, which is not something that's going to be voice acted. In fact, there's that whole thing of like the screen will say "Thank you, Lauren," and it'll just say "Thank you." Like you'll hear "Thank you," and it feels a little weird knowing that. Well, okay, why did you have me put in my name if it's going to be on the screen and not voice acted? But whatever. You put in your name, you put in your gender, and specifically the pronouns that you want
Right.
associated to you, and you put in your diet. And I think that that's the developer's way of saying these are three important parts of who you are, or at least who you should be represented as in the game. So what do you think? I can't remember a time, except for the latest South Park. I can't remember a time when a game has asked what gender pronouns I would like to be used. And
Yeah.
it was very shocking.
Yeah, like, okay. One, I like that they're, like, being aware of that. But also, like, I don't think it's necessary in this game.
Right.
Like, you aren't. Like, there's no physical representation of me as a character in this game. Right?
Right.
Like, it's just me looking at a screen.
Right.
So I feel like that is kind of a little out of place. Like,
Right.
it just feels unnecessary. I like that they're being progressive about it, but it just, like in the diet thing, like, I don't know, unless they play like a big role in the game later, I just feel like it's not a necessity.
The diet thing will come back up in the sense of you'll be offered a meal. The meal will match your dietary preference, and you will be referred to as the pronoun that you've chosen throughout the game. But again, it won't be voice acted because it just wasn't the money behind re-voice acting everything. And you're right that you don't have a character avatar. I agree with you that if there was a character creation screen and you could visually see maybe the back of your head or a small, representation of yourself in a speech window, that then it would make more sense because it's something
Yeah.
you're relating to. But right now I feel like it's a bit like, okay, it's cool that they asked me, and I appreciate that they asked me and acknowledged that not everyone fits a binary gender, and that's very
Right.
nice, and it's nice that
Right.
you feel included. But it also feels completely pointless.
Yes.
this game.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Considering this data,
Yeah.
ironic, since
And the other game that I'd seen this, I don't know if you played it, was the second South Park game, South Park,
excellent.
Not the Stick of Truth. It was something about buttholes.
Yeah, I haven't played either of them.
The Fractured Butthole. That was the
Okay.
name. And they make fun of it, and you know, kind of in a, you get the vibe that they're kind of doing the whole snowflake joke, but it wasn't quite like that. Like it wasn't terrible. I mean, I found it amusing. They basically ask you for a lot of info. You know, your gender, your sexual orientation, your pronouns, everything. They ask for a whole gambit. It's a very long segment, and at the end of it, no matter what you choose, no matter if you choose, you know, cisgendered straight male, or you know, you go over the whole bunch of other options, they always have the rednecks come and say you're not welcome here, and it's amusing because it kind of points out the absurdity of like people are gonna hate no matter what.
Right.
But you know, I'm not sure that joke is punching up or not. Regardless, this is the first time it's taken seriously in this game.
Yeah.
We should make our way to Stardust soon.
Talking. Have to keep drinking. Sorry.
Keep doing it.
Keep drinking. You got another trophy. Congratulations. It's not the trophy that we were looking for. Not yet. That's the trophy for completing the prologue, is the one that you got. So congratulations on that. Another common trophy, another bronze, because this game is just chock full of bronze trophies. They love giving them out like they're candy.
Right now, my screen says this action will have consequences, probably, which is funny to me. That's funny.
Because of the Telltale thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously influences from all these things. The plant thing is amusing. The plant is a side quest. You can treat the plant nice or not nice, and it has consequences. Which is something that is also in that other adventure game, the real popular one by Square Enix, with the photographer. Why am I blanking on every single video game in the world?
Life is Strange?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Life is Strange. There's a plant side quest where you have to care for a plant as well.
Things are already underway at Stardust, even so early.
The more you know. Welcome to Stardust. We're now looking for a secondary character, Tomcat, who we found in a calendar entry. That seems like a good lead. So here's another thing, and this would only come up in my mind because we've already talked about like this progressive ideology this game is going for. We have all this focus on what we just talked about, and then we get to Stardust, and it's like, welcome, it is Christmas, welcome to Christmas, and it feels like, okay, but this is your hypothetical future. It's not a dystopian future. It's maybe, you know, I wouldn't say troubled, but you know, there's conflict. But for them to just be like, and here's a bunch of Christianity, it was not something I would ever think about. It would just be like, okay, yeah, that seems like that's the normal, how the world is now, so that makes sense that would continue. But it feels like they made all this effort to show a future that, I guess, is more inclusive. It's odd to see just like a Christmas theme on a bar. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
It feels like people kind of only included their own, I don't know, it feels like there wasn't a lot of thought put into every aspect that they could have. Not something I would normally even bring up. It just felt like an oversight in the game that seemed focused on that kind of thing.
Sorry.
Was that the yawn of the game?
No, I've been yawning like since we started, basically.
Welcome to
Lauren, I love it. So she yawns a lot during the games. It's not because she's bored. It's not because of that. It's just, you're a yawner. I don't know what to say.
Well, I did wake up at like, 6 o'clock this morning. So I'm a bit tired.
Having life sure does suck. I would say everyone should just donate to our Patreon. It wouldn't be a problem. But we don't have a Patreon because that's not our thing.
No, we don't. Because Tony and I do this because we like doing this, not because we want to make your monies.
We do it because it is our civic duty to do it. Speaking of PSA, go vote, everybody.
Yes. Go vote.
Go vote.
Good idea. Maybe the Bart.
So welcome to the bar.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to drink this random glass of whiskey.
The first, I love it. You know, sometimes playing games, even silly games like this, I get a sense of stress when I do something that's not lawful good. Like, I was given the option to drink this whiskey. I was given the option to pour my spoiled milk into this whiskey. And both times I said to myself, I bet that would be very funny, but I couldn't do it. What would the game think of me? I know it's tracking my gameplay. I won't. And it's funny because I even said to myself, but Lauren will do it. She'll drink that drink. You're so chaotic neutral, and I appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
Scientist. Pretty sure
I believe I have this voice actor. Let me see here.
Our place doesn't really seem like it's...
I don't. I don't. Sorry. Everyone will just have to wonder who this is.
Cool. Wait, I can't take my drink? You poured me a drink and I can't even have it?
You can. If you go over to items, you can actually use any item that you have collected.
Oh, he put it there. Okay. Drink it.
And you're certainly welcome to. You can keep drinking, and there is an amusing consequence to it.
Really? That's hilarious.
Yeah. It just takes time because you have to go through like 6 or 7 drinks.
Right.
And, you know, every single time it's like, what do you want? What's that drink made out of? And it's a bit tedious.
Huh.
A contender for the trophy name of the game is that there's a trophy associated with drinking every single drink offered. It's like a very long list. It's like 35 drinks or something, and it's, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I did think, like, really?
Huh. Drink every drink.
Hey, when you looked at that poster, did your controller shake?
I turned the vibration off. Ha, ha.
Yeah, good call.
Yes. Huh? Tomcat is... Oh, wait, I get it. You headed right up to the chick with the...
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You guessed? Look, I'm cruising for cuties right now, and cat jokes are the biggest... I don't know where Tomcat is, so look for them.
Hello,
Don't expect others
hello.
to be so kind.
We have
or even
a
me
chat.
most times.
Hello.
Hello.
Dainty
You want to talk
TV
about
is
the hybrid
joined
then?
in.
Cool.
Cool.
No one's trying to hide it, and you won't have an easy time avoiding. But jokes?
We're in the middle of the stream. We're just getting to
Don't
know
all have the
Tomcat,
energy to handhold genotypical
who seems to be
people. You can't
aggressively angry at us
If you
for,
try to
I don't want to say no reason, let's say for the patriarchy.
Yeah, as in
Yes.
not a hybrid like me. Now then, I'm not here to educate.
There is a trophy associated with Tomcat, with whether she likes us at the,
Yeah, all right,
at the end
whatever.
of the game. And actually, I say she, but I'm pretty sure the Tomcat prefers they.
Hi
I don't
there.
Okay.
remember. I have
I
to
heard
see
you were
what
looking
where that takes us there.
Yours good.
Tomcat is one of the
wow.
hybrids of the game. No. Tomcat, I'm confused. Tomcat is the one we're talking to now,
Uh-huh.
and I think
Get in trouble, huh?
the patron you were talking to earlier, his name is
I don't know, it didn't tell me her name.
Jerry.
Jess is just a mite
Yeah,
pretty
you find out
on the
later.
outside.
Oh, Jess.
There's much more
Jess?
story associated.
She'd probably give hell to most strange folks she hasn't made a deal
Gotcha.
with.
Jess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Jess is so interesting.
Hayden's. Well,
There's a thing that Telltale games do that really bugs me, is that you would play, and you would find a character that didn't like you, that initially was angry at you, and no matter what choice you made, no matter what you did, the character was always going to be upset at you. Everything was taken out of context, and it was frustrating. And at first I thought, oh, is this Telltale's way of saying that, like, sometimes people just don't like you, and you have to kind of let it go? Or is this a result of the mechanic where it's like, we need the story to go a certain way, so you can
Right.
try and be nice, but it doesn't matter. And Jess rubs off on me as that kind of character. It's like, we need Jess to dislike you, so we're not going to give you any good options to interact. and it's just going to be a character that just hates you. And I know that you can end the game without it being hatred, but it does feel like it feels frustrating to have story options that take a very long time to actually get anywhere as far as how a character interacts with you, because it feels like you're in a track that you can't adjust.
Right.
Digging Tomcat's hair though.
I mean,
Yeah, it's quite good.
I don't know. I chalk it up to the exuberance of youth. Mostly.
Yo.
Oh, who am I kidding? Sometimes I treat this place like it's my little Batcave.
I think you did one too many O's. Let's try it again.
Oh.
Just the 3 O's.
No, I'm good. I like my extra
You
O's.
good? Okay, you keep the extra O's.
Or it's not the glitziest town.
I do have the voice actor for Tomcat. There is doing a traditional Southern drawl, so you are missing that because we don't have the sound up.
Yeah.
Scanning. Tomcat is voiced by Aaron Yvette, who, another Telltale alumni, voiced Snow White in The Wolf Among Us, and Vicky Vale in Batman the Telltale series. So, a voice actor that you and I are familiar with because we play Batman on the channel.
Mostly
That's
that little
true.
bot you got there. Well,
It's interesting to me that, of course, this is not a Telltale game. It has no relationship with the studios except that they pull some voice actors from the community. It really does feel like the voice acting community, as far as adventure games, seems to be a tight-knit community, and it's not something I would necessarily expected.
that's just a fancy way of saying all ROMs connect to all other
Interesting.
ROMs within range.
And I wonder if that's some kind of a pay scale thing, that maybe adventure games, they don't get paid as much, or they get
You're stuck
paid
connected.
more, or it's more difficult work because these games are much more focused on dialogue, and it's just a different type of voice actor than, say, an Uncharted or, I don't know, God of War. That it's
Yeah, I don't know.
it's a different type of experience.
It's a good question.
Yeah. You're good at wild speculation. What do you think?
I think maybe, yeah, it has something to do with like the indie game pay scale type thing, where like they can
Yeah.
afford the same sort of range of voice actors, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
I'm super digging the guy in the middle. I feel like that's at the club. Just one pose, every once in a while, shift to the other side. Yeah, I'm cool. Shift to the other side.
Yeah, I'm not real sure, hon. But it would likely help if I'll stay here and ask around.
This game gets into the ethics of augmentation, the ethics of hybrid, the ethics of
If parallax is
gene
involved,
editing and DNA and what makes human, and we won't get to a lot of the heavier stuff that the game
Good
really
luck.
wants you to discuss. So let's talk a little bit about those themes in general. Let's talk about what humanity means, what augmentation means.
Oh, this is too much for me right now.
I know. The game is going to posit 2 sides to this. There's a side that's the human revolution side that believes that humanity is just a strict DNA thing, that we're losing our humanity by editing ourselves or augmenting ourselves away from humanity. And there's the other side that it's like, it's about our choice and about, making decisions and us respecting other people's decisions. And I think that the game does not do a very good job of making those sides both seem equal. I think they make the human revolution side seem wrong, and the augmentation hybrid side just to seem right. Even though that's the side that I know I would fall on anyway, I do feel like it makes for kind of a boring narrative if you make one side just seem so unequivocally wrong. I mean, they
Right.
come off as like, birther movement types. I mean, it's just not an appealing storyline in my opinion.
Sure.
I am set at level 2 guard mode. I apologize, but loitering around an active investigation area is...
There is another trophy opportunity here. You're certainly welcome to go for it. It's a bit time consuming. If you're to click on the wrong door multiple times, you keep kind of knocking and then leaving, knocking and leaving. I think you'll end up dying. I think the guard will kill you and then you have to kind of restart. But, it is a trophy.
I don't think it's wise.
The game requires multiple playthroughs. There are multiple different endings, multiple different paths. Chapter 3, you choose in a major way which plot direction you want to go, so the game has replayability.
Now that I think about it,
but you're playing right now kind of quickly. You're not
Right.
reading everything. You're not listening to everything. The prospect of playing this 2 or 3 times, exciting? Not so exciting?
I mean, I don't, maybe because I don't have the sound on, I'm kind of bored.
No such connection when
Yeah.
I compiled.
We played previously a pigeon game, Hatoful Boyfriend.
Yeah, Hatoful Boyfriend, yeah.
I remember you and I were so hyped to play this stupid game where you got to date a pigeon.
Right.
It was just gonna be the game of the year for us.
Yeah.
And what ended up killing it for us is that we decided to voice act it, which was hilarious. I had a
Yes,
great time doing
yes.
it.
So fun.
But it slowed it down to the point that it was like mind-numbing. It was just everything that was being said was repetitive, and it was like each bird had its own opinion about everything that happened. And I think you and I both ended up feeling like we made no progress in 2 hours of, talking.
Right.
And here, I played this, not speeding it. I listened to all the dialogue. I found the voice acting to be on point. I found the puzzles to be fine. I found the story to be engaging. But I did multiple times go, man, you do not make much progress at a pace. And that's why the trophy that I've challenged you to go after is trophy number 1. It's chapter 1's trophy.
Yeah.
You're not going to end with much story except for sort of laying out what the main conflict is.
Right.
It's interesting because these types of experiences, it's like watching a television show. It's like going into I don't know, what's an engaging television show, a West Wing or a Breaking Bad, where you need to sit and pay attention and
San Francisco, Richmond,
really be engaged in a TV show. It's not a mind number. And a lot of the indie experiences we've done have been kind of mind numbers. We've played arcade type games, and we've played rock balls with tongues throwing boulders. We've played some weird ones.
You can find her by
And this one is a sit and pay attention one. And for an indie title, that's an interesting ask.
She is working an investigation right now, and we are not responsible for your... Is there anything else I can help you with? I apologize, citizen, but I am not authorized to comment on ongoing investigation. Is there anything else? I am not authorized to comment on any ongoing investigations. Feel free to note the assistant. Is there anything else I can help you with?
What else to say?
Have a good day,
The voice acting adds a little bit more of the nuance as to are these characters sarcastic or, is it sort of absurd? The robot is talking to you, and the answer to that would be yes. You would be getting a little bit more out of it.
Right.
I don't think that your opinion would change that drastically. It probably would be changing for the better. The fact that you don't interact as an avatar, that you're just sort of statically observing everything that's happening, it is a little, you have to have patience for it.
Yeah. And I definitely, I can have patience, but right now it's difficult, one, because we're trying to play and talk at the same time, but also, I'm just real tired. And I'm like, I don't care what any of this says right now.
Yeah. And the thing is you and I play these games, we play the PS Plus games, because we're tired, because we come home from work, we're out saving the world because we're vigilantes. I mean, we're accountants and bookkeepers and ignore the first part. We're tired. We want something to come home and relax to, or something to engage us in a way that we feel like, yeah, even though life is hard, no, I'm able to slay this beast. That's part of gaming for us.
Right.
Because we're an older generation, and this is a hard sell for this demographic. Does that mean it's a bad game? Not necessarily. It just means it's a difficult ask for what you and I typically do for gaming. Do you think that's a fair statement?
Sure. Yeah, this isn't the game for people who want to just jump in, play for 20 minutes while they decompress from work and then move on with their day. This takes some time. You have to sit and read, or I guess listen, because we don't have the sound on, but there's just there's not a lot of action. It's very slow. It's very the only buttons I'm really using are the X button and the D-pad.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, you're playing a puzzle game. I mean, that's the gameplay here. Yeah, you're also doing the story component, but the gaming component of it is puzzles. And what puzzles have you solved? I mean, you've solved nothing.
I solved one puzzle, and it was...
Put the thing in the doohickey.
Yes, I put the thing in the doohickey, and that was it. And it felt like it was just kind of cheap, even, because the thing looked like it was part of another thing, so I didn't realize the thing was there for however long I was in that room. Way too long.
Yeah, you know, I would say that is, for me, and I think probably for you, it would be a detriment to this. If the gameplay part of this game is not much fun. In the next scene, which you can go to, I think if you scroll the screen to the right, the next screen, you're introduced to Detective Rivers. And to progress with her puzzle, you're given two paths. You can either try and convince her through dialogue to do what you want her to do, or you solve a simple puzzle with the obvious water robot. It's the only good thing in this area, and you do it that way. And I ended up apparently losing the dialogue option. You feel free to go for it here. We have time. We only have an hour, so try and get her to convince her. But I definitely got the impression, I was like, well, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I able to convince her? And I didn't get the sense that it kind of felt random. It kind of felt random that, you know, I couldn't get her to do what I wanted to do. And, you know, I'll play it again in the second playthrough. I'll see what I can do. But I'm also more likely to just look up a trophy guide and just see, you know, what dialogue choice I need to do to get the trophy related to her. I don't feel particularly like, oh man, I'm so close, let me try again. Because it didn't engage me in that way. It didn't feel like, it felt random. It didn't feel like a challenge that I could have solved.
Hey, how much longer till I get this trophy, Tony? What more do I, how much do I have left?
You know, it's Thursday. We should get it on Monday or so. Monday afternoon.
Monday
You're about
afternoon.
20 minutes away, I'd say.
Okay.
You're pretty close, so don't feel too bad.
Okay.
And how could you not enjoy looking at this fat Elvis we got here?
Oh yeah.
Froyo has lasted to the future. That's good.
Hey there. Give me a few minutes to wrap this
Also,
up.
I can't tell what that is scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Is it supposed to be like a dust cloud, or if you see it again, let me know your opinion, because I could not. It's a pigeon?
Yeah, I think it's like a pigeon flying across the screen.
Of the people or something.
On the bottom of the screen?
It looks like a bird.
Screwing around at night and getting. But the brass says it
That's an odd choice.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
I don't know. It's probably not, but that's what it looks like to me. Please, if you're watching, tell us what's floating across the bottom of the screen.
Tell us what that weird gray thing is.
This is all they would give me. I never would.
Oh dear.
Let's see. I'm too young for.
I don't have the voice actor for Lexi, and you're not likely to. I don't think you're gonna get to see the other voice actor that I called out. There's a character called Dr. Yannick Fairlight. He's played by Adam Harrington, who is also a Telltale alumni. He played Bigby from The Wolf Among Us and Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, both Telltale games. So a ton of Telltale alumni on this title. It's a shame they'll never be getting work at Telltale games, since that, again, studio doesn't exist. We talked about it on the show already, right? We
talked about it a little bit, yeah.
It's such a weird state that, you know, adventure games were dead. They were just dead.
Right.
And Telltale, you know, revived them from a breath of nothing and brought them back, and I think got a random success with The Walking Dead back when that property was the hottest thing in the world, and they made this great game, and now it feels like, I hope it's not dead again, because I think there is something still to be appreciated in an adventure game, a well done one, looking at you, Life is Strange, you know, and maybe not necessarily in every version of this.
There is already some kind of.
Since we are shutting down soon, I did sort of bring up a topic earlier in the show about what's going to happen to PS Plus because of PS3 and PS Vita going away.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
You know, honestly, I think they're just gonna. I hope that they give us more PS4 titles. I hope that's what they do. I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. I think we'll just be getting the same number of games. Maybe we'll be getting like a VR game. You know how they still do it. They give you one for like a 2-month span or whatever, and then they like take it away. I don't know. Like part of me really hopes that they just throw in like an extra title or two, even if they're like way indie, super unheard of, no one's ever gonna play them games. Like, I pay $60 a year for this, like,
yeah.
And you're taking away games from, like, granted there's probably not that many more games left that they can even offer for the other consoles,
Right.
but like, just make it worth my while.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've had so many PS3 and PS Vita titles offered as part of the PS Plus program that they are scraping the bottom of the barrel in a way.
Yes.
There are times when I felt that there are big titles coming out, and it felt like you could have offered the PS3 version of this. You could have offered, you know, they did it with God of War. You know, they gave us 3 when the new one was coming. But I felt like there were other opportunities they could have done that. That being said, now that it's going away, legally, they're not obligated to give us anything. The contract, or what it stated, well, first of all, it states that they can stop doing this at any time, so there's that giant loophole there. But the promise of the offer was 2 PS4 titles, 2 PS3 titles, and 2 PS Vita titles. That's it. So if PS3 and PS Vita is being discontinued, in theory, they're only kind of do nothing obligation is just keep offering 2 PS4s.
Right.
Now we've been getting 4, even 5 a month because of the sort of random cross-play nature of a lot of these PS3 games, but and PS Vita games. But it just feels like Sony has an opportunity to be a really good guy here and still offer up something. Either it's giving more PS4 games or giving more incentives like the Netflix subscription thing that we missed out on because we were really late, or maybe offering a PS Now subscription or PS View subscription.
Sure.
I feel like they need to do something. I had read something interesting on Reddit that they felt that a really good thing to do would be to offer all of those pre-access and beta and alphas that we see popping up on PS4 titles, like big things like Fallout 76, because again, I cannot go an episode without talking about Fallout. Fallout 76 had a pre-order system where if you pre-order, you get to play the beta, which is live now. Well, the thing was, why doesn't just PS Plus offer that? As a PS Plus member, why don't you just automatically get entered into the betas? That to me seems like a great idea. I'm really into that.
Right. I don't disagree with that.
You know, because other than that, they're just gonna keep offering us $1 off here, $1 off there, which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate. I like getting deals, seeing, you know, oh, look at it's the PlayStation's best title sale, and then seeing an additional half off.
Right.
I think that's great as a PS Plus member. But,
yes.
you know, it's gonna suck, not just for players, but also for us in the channel. Like, we only have two new games a month.
I know, two. And you know, honestly, like, to be fair, the $60 a year that I pay, you know, it goes to online gaming. You know, I pay for that. You know, the PS Plus games they're an added perk. You know, but one that they've sort of like given expectation that they'll be there. You know, like, they've been giving us these free games for however long now, and it's sort of a given that they're just going to keep that up. And, you know, I don't think that they're obligated to in any way, shape, or form. Like, if you know, I don't know what Xbox does, but their online gaming service is also $60 a year, and I don't know if they offer any additional either free games or additional discounts on whatever games they already have on sale or anything like that. I don't know how that works. So to be honest, I am happy with what Sony is offering with this $60 a year. So, you know, I'm not going to complain too much about the fact that they're getting rid of these other consoles free games, because it's just an added perk anyway. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah, no, and to be clear, even though I feel like sometimes we do complain a lot, I'm also not concerned about PS3 and PS Vita being discontinued.
Sure.
I do think that they honestly, did way longer than I thought they were going to. You know, PS3 is clearly at the end of its support period. I mean, PS5 is being talked about. Like, there's just no reason for them to continue doing that.
Right.
But they do have to compete with, you know, Xbox. They have to compete with Nintendo, who now has an online offering. Like, they have to compete with this. And to be competitive, they cannot just offer online. They have to offer a robust offering on top of that. And frankly, they're losing a big component by losing the crossplay of PS3 and PS Vita. So I really feel that they need to do something, even if it's not an equivalent, even if it's just, you know, have this extra. I would be disappointed if Sony didn't recognize, and if they took their place as the leader in the console wars and just said we didn't have to do anything. So I'm sure you're paying attention, Sony execs, to what we're saying. We're working on it.
Alright, what am I supposed to do here?
So you should be able to talk to Lexi to convince her. If she's already declined, then you should be able to turn off the water, get the robot to freak out by asking it for water, and then he'll cause havoc.
Oh, I didn't see the arrow for me to scroll back.
Yeah. I know you're a little bit tired, but that arrow being like that is also one of those, like, could have been designed better. Could have been a little more obvious that there was a, you know, a whole nother.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I had come through in a way, but like, it was that white arrow isn't very. It's not very pronounced.
Yeah. So this title is a PS Vita title that is crossplay with PS4, and I don't own a PS Vita. I have played with the PS Vita before, and of course I've done plenty of mobile gaming. But I think this game would be better on PS Vita. If you have a PS Vita, I'm going to go ahead and say unequivocally, this title is better on that platform than it is PS4. This is definitely the type of game that you'd want to play on a bus.
Oh, yeah.
Or playing it or whatever. It's something that you'd want to feel like you're jumping into. You have that, you know, you save it whenever, because you can save this game whenever, and just jump back into this continuing story and let it be there. I feel like that experience is better, because to boot up the PS4 and to sit down on the couch and to have all of this kind of retail space on your TV being utilized for a game like this, it feels like the expectation is there's more.
Yeah, this definitely is. I could definitely see this as a more mobile game, something that you can take with you and just like sort of in a space where you don't have anything else to do. And, you know, you're just sort of like, hi, this is all I have. This is all I can do right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just got her ID.
And you got a trophy for one of the two branching paths of how you deal with Detective Rivers. So you can persuade her, or you can use the environment to unlock this puzzle, and you've done the same thing that I did in my playthrough, which is use the environment. I don't know if you were particularly paying attention to the dialogue choices when you were talking to her.
I was.
Like I was, but then you probably just randomly didn't hit whatever correct sequence of events to get her to do it. But I tried, and I couldn't. And right now, I have no idea how to have had her do it. I don't know whether I said the wrong combination of words. There certainly wasn't any context clue to indicate that I should have said something versus something else.
Huh. Yeah, because I thought, like, I don't know. Yeah, it was hard to figure out what I was supposed to say to her, in what order to make her do anything. I thought I was going to get no matter what, so.
I should point out, because we have been talking about sort of the progressive underpinnings of this game, that Detective Rivers is either lesbian or bisexual, because it's she's mentioned a couple of times that she was dating your sister.
Oh. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she was married or dating, I've forgotten, but that part was the thing. But the fact that you didn't pay attention to that means it wasn't thrown in your face, which is something that I do say kudos to this game for doing. That's something they just were like, here, you know, we have LGBT characters, they're just prominent in this world, and it's not a thing, and it's not important, it's just something that's sort of said as background information, and we moved on. That is absolutely how the LGBT community currently wants to be represented in media, because the whole using this exploitation thing is something that is sort of tired and old hat. So that's great. but you know, I feel like the bar has been raised in that sense, and it makes the rest of the gameplay a little like, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Again, referencing the Christmas stuff at the bar, it just feels a little like,
Yeah.
okay, I mean, you got some of it, and that's good. I appreciate it, but you know.
Well, I'm not sure I'd call.
Have you ever noticed that you haven't been referred to as your name? There's no pronouns associated with you. It's just like that whole thing.
They did say make sure she something 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 at some point, and my name has been used a couple times, but yeah, but I don't know.
But I will say your name has not been voice acted.
No.
Yeah.
Oof,
What?
that was unexpected.
No. What does the human?
Yeah.
Why
So.
did they break our? I don't know. This place. They're all I have of. What if he's gone for good?
I think that this would be more shocking if you had spent more time in this room. I mean, you were in there a while,
I was.
but you know, I also touched everything, interacted with everything. I eventually got trophies for interacting with 100 things, for observing 100 things, for talking to 100 things. You get trophies for all those things, and those are goalpost trophies, and I like those as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to hit it because you're not spending enough time in this place, and that's fine.
Right.
It's a lot of time you need to spend. I probably put 6 or 7 hours into this game.
You're right.
Okay.
I know they don't.
And I'm not too keen to go back to it, not because I'm not enjoying it, but because I made about an hour's worth of progress before the game crashed on me. The game does not autosave, so you need to be diligent about saving this, even if you feel like, so that kind of pissed me off, because now I feel like, I have to figure out what decisions I made, and it was a frustrating puzzle that I had to do. So, I don't want to say I feel like sour on this, but I definitely do feel like I don't want to go back to this right now.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
So, that is what it is.
Okay.
Typically at the hour mark, and we're past it, we're at hour 15, you begin to give me your initial impressions of, are you enjoying this, or is this frustrating? Because at this point, we typically know where we stand.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
And
Yeah, I'm kind of like, it's not unenjoyable, but it's also just kind of blah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because, and we always kind of have this problem, I don't get as much of the story as I should, probably. And maybe that's why I'm not really liking it as much, but I don't know, I just feel like I'm not very immersed in this game, and I don't really care about any of it.
Right. Yeah, there's also not a good reason why you're the one looking for Hayden. Like, you're supposed to be a blank avatar. I mean, that's what the game is.
Right.
Is putting you as, you have a very tenuous relationship with Hayden. This robot literally just stumbled into your apartment and was like, I did some data, and the data says that you're the person to help me. Like, you have no emotional investment into it until you learn more in the story. And then it's even like, okay, well, whatever. I'm pretty sure that you've ended chapter 1. Let me just see what happens here.
Okay. Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay, so, congratulations! You've done the thing that I've asked you to do. You've gotten the trophy for Chapter 1, which is the trophy goal of the Targeted Trophy Challenge. Congratulations, my dear co-host Lauren.
Thank you. I just got the trophy. It just popped up. But thank
As
you.
I was talking?
Yeah. Like right as I said thank you. I did the thing.
You've done the thing.
All right, so let's play our games. Are you ready to play our games?
Let's do it. You just keep pressing X.
Yeah,
I do want to say
do.
a little bit about what's going to happen, just to give people the idea of where the game continues.
Sure.
The game essentially continues into an esoteric crisis for Turing. You can either abandon him emotionally, or you can befriend him in a way and put yourself and your journalism career in jeopardy. You can befriend and or antagonize Tomcat or Jess. You have to solve minor puzzles uncovering what has happened to Hayden. I have not finished the game, so I can't say if there are any twists beyond what I'm saying, but spoilers, Hayden does not end well. And the game just sort of takes you through the human revolution. You have to infiltrate the human revolution. You essentially explore this world of groups that hate each other
Okay.
in order to explore what has happened to Hayden and what the ultimate fate of Turing will be.
What if Hayden doesn't exist? That's my current theory.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
I don't
It
know.
could be. I didn't finish this, and I do try and do as much research as possible. I felt this game was so story driven that I didn't want to spoil myself
Yeah,
into the ending
sure,
of it.
sure,
But
that
I got
was
much
just a-
much further than this, and it's
That-
possible.
That
But would
was
you say that you
my-
invested?
No. But that was my like I see dead people kind of
But if they don't have Hayden's research,
like guess.
I always appreciate a lot of speculation. It's good.
Yeah. Anyway,
So you've played the game, you've gotten the trophy, it's time for a segment we're calling the Metacritic Review Game. Here's how we play. First, you give me what you would rate this game out of 100 and why. Then I'll read to you the highest and lowest critic ratings without the numbers they were assigned. And you'll tell me if you think their score will be higher or lower than the Metacritic average of game critics. And finally, we'll reveal if you went higher or lower than the Metacritic rating. Are you ready to critique?
computer before.
um,
And finally,
yes.
here's your commemorative glass of water. Now,
Out of 100, where would you put this game?
I give this game
you're right. You
a
wouldn't just let me know when you want
55.
to leave.
55.
Yes.
For
Because
pretty much the reasons we talked about.
yeah, because I'm kind of bored. I don't feel like this is something that you can just like play and you know not really think about. And I mean, I'm a very casual gamer, and I don't know if you guys know that about me, but I like things I can pick up and then just put down shortly thereafter. I don't want to get super involved in something. And this doesn't feel like that to me. This really doesn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, that doesn't make it a bad game. It's just not my personal preference. I'm bored. There's too much story. There's a lot of reading. I probably would feel differently if I was listening to it, to the voice acting or whatever. But then there are, like you said, there are like these weird decisions they made. Like, why is it decorated like Christmas at the bar? Like, who has, and like, I don't know, just weird things. Like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And this probably would feel like a totally different game if I was playing it on the portable console, on the Vita. Like, I'm just not like super into this. Like, yeah. Yeah,
I hear you. Hold on one second, would you?
sure.
Hello? Hey, okay, sorry. Okay, continue. Yeah, these are great points. I completely agree with you. I think you and I, our score is similar.
Yeah.
But let me read to you what the critics said.
Okay.
In the top, 2064 read-only memories, which we have never pointed out is just a joke for 2 gigabytes ROM. I mean, for all those computer nerds, that's what that means.
Right.
2064 Read-Only Memories is an excellent cyberpunk adventure for anyone looking for point-and-click title inspired by games like Snatcher. Don't forget the catchy soundtrack. That was from God is Geek, and that's the high. Here's the low.
Okay.
2064 Read-Only Memories is a great game for anyone who agrees 100% with what its heavy-handed, politically charged plot forces down your throat without question. However, like a political conversation on social media, 2064 is long-winded, overly aggressive in its message, ill-presented, and accomplishes nothing. That was by Shack News.
Yeah.
I found that review to be a bit unfair. It really felt politically charged, in my opinion, but, you know, it is
Yeah,
a review.
yeah, but like, I mean, I guess I don't really know. Like, I haven't finished the story, so I don't know if what they're saying is heavy-handed or if there's like something, you know, whatever about their message. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think I've.
And, you know, I think
Oh.
we've kind of discussed about where the plot is going generally.
Right.
But I really do feel like part of what they're discussing is there's obvious progressive leanings to the game. So I do feel
Sure.
like that was probably somebody who just doesn't like the kind of thing being put into the
Maybe,
game.
maybe.
Okay, so with that in mind, do you think you went higher or lower?
I think I went lower.
By a lot?
No, maybe not by a lot.
Well, you did go by a lot.
Really?
Game was viewed at 76 out of 100.
Oh. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, the game was well liked in that sense. I mean, it had its critics, as you can see, but I feel like that the nostalgia to this, I think that the daring to do something that's a little bit more different as far as in the political messaging probably gave it some points. And, mechanically it functions. It's not like the game is broken. It just maybe is not as interesting as you and I would have liked.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. The game, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so last segment of the show. Is it worth downloading? Here's some data to keep in mind before we give our final judgment. From howlongtobeat.com, they of course put together some information that's helpful in determining how long it is to beat. It's pretty self-explanatory. The time sink takes about 9 hours to do the main storyline of the game. If you want to do all the extra little side quests, all the little collectibles, you're looking at more like 11 hours. And if you want that platinum trophy, you're looking at 17 and a half hours. That's a 3 out of 10 difficulty according to PSNProfiles.com. 2.22 gigabytes of download space and a regular retail price of $19.99. What do we think? Is this worth putting on your PS4 hard drive? Obviously, all these games are worth purchasing. Air quotes, you purchase all of the games for PS Plus.
Yes,
Who knows?
and,
In the future,
and
we may run out of games.
today's November 1st, so you have until next Tuesday, well,
Right.
Monday, to download this. So, if you haven't downloaded it, please go do so, or purchased it rather. If you haven't downloaded it, like, I suggest keeping it that way. that's my opinion. Don't bother downloading it. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not even a big game, but it's just not worth your hard drive space. You only have so much room.
I was excited going into this.
Yeah.
And then not so much anymore. So I would agree with you. If this is your thing, if adventure games are 100% your thing, then this may be fine for you. I mean, the story can be engaging, especially if you're listening to it.
Sure.
But if you're looking for something that's going to blow your mind and you're not a normal adventure game enthusiast, then I would say this is not the one to start with. Go back to one of our previous titles. Go to Life is Strange. Go to any of the Telltale games, even though the studio was dead in the water. Go one of those. They're much more polished.
The thing is, I think this story would be much better if it wasn't told in this point and click method. Like.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Or if it were more puzzle based, or if you, as if it wasn't just this first person and you were a blank avatar, if you had more of a say a story.
Right.
Even in the, if you remember the Hatoful Boyfriend thing that we played.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you did have, you were a major part of the story. You were part of the giant conspiracy theory. You didn't find that out till the end of the game.
Right.
At least it was that.
Yeah.
So any last words about the gameplay itself?
No, I don't really have much else to say about this game. I think I've done enough poo-pooing on it. Yeah.
All right. So, and now for our closing. Well, let's see. What did I write down here? Tony, remember to put a pun in here. Don't trust your memories. And don't just read only. Keep under 2064 characters. I guess I got nothing. Sorry. No relationship to the title here. My bad.
Oh my gosh.
Where can people find us for more content? And what are we up to this week?
So you can watch all of the episodes of 2 Gamers 1 Trophy back catalog at YouTube. Just look up 2 Gamers 1 Trophy. That's the numeral 2 and the numeral 1. As for what we're up to for the rest of the week, I am full of naps. That's what I'm doing. What about you?
Full of naps is a great description, and I feel like I am also full of naps. Cool. Traveling a bit now that Halloween is over. I guess it's Christmas basically, so I'll be preparing for that.
Sure.
But other than that, it's just normal gameplay. Maybe I'm gonna get into the Fallout 76 beta. We'll see.
Nice. I'll probably be over in Overwatch playing competitive team deathmatch. So if you want to play, that's where you can find me.
Always join her doing Overwatch. She's, I assume, the best player in the world.
Yep, forever.
Yep, good deal. Thank you to everyone for watching, commenting, and otherwise interacting with us. It's a delight to share the world of PS Plus with everyone. And a quick thank you for our title music provided by Sear Hair. You can find more of his work on Spotify. next Thursday we're playing. Well, we were going to play Rocket Birds 2 Evolution, and while that sounds like an amazing title, I think we're probably going to just jump into the November titles.
Yeah, probably.
So if I had to guess, we need to talk about it. We're probably going to play Yakuza, but I guess stay tuned next Thursday around 7 p.m. Eastern Time to find out.
Yes, we'll see you right back here then. See you next week, folks.